Alright, so in this short video, I'm basically just going to talk about what I call blockchain land banking with the sorry method. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm just going to start out with the reality. Now, this world has seen a lot of crypto scams. Okay. Once it collapses, the next big project hype, communities that disappear overnight. But the real problem is not crypto. All right. The real problem is unstable systems and also the ignorance of investors. Now, right now, the core way that people make money on crypto is pump and dump. Okay. And in fact, if you make money with pump and dump today, we are even going to celebrate you because pump and dump is approved, officially approved. Okay. All pump and dump thieves are celebrated today. So any group of people with liquidity can sit down somewhere in Dubai, agree that they are going to put $1 million into a project. The price of the project will pump, after they have announced it on social media, of course, through their vendors, okay, on social media. And when the vendors announce, people will put in the price, people will put in money, and then they will blow the whistle and they will take out their funds. And when they take out their funds, the average user loses, the one that loses the money he contributes. Okay. So who takes the money? The liquidity providers. By this time, they have made 2x, 3x their money. So everybody seems to be okay with this ongoing current Ponzi mechanism that doesn't have an end. It's an endless cycle of people losing money. I mean, even those of us who claim that we have signals, okay, even when they give you the signal, you put in the signal and you still lose money because maybe you did not take out money fast enough. You are still trying to swap. Okay, while you are trying to swap, you've lost money already. Okay, now the problem is because many of us are chasing what? Fast money. We don't have understanding of structure and our financial decisions are driven by emotions. So it's same cycle of losses. Now, but what defines a strong system? A strong system must have a good structure, must have liquidity control. This is very important. As long as the the liquidity providers have control over a project, that project is not safe. Now, a good project must be able to have some level of sustainability, okay, and then a resistance to panic. In other words, panic sales, okay. And this is where we want to begin to talk about the revolution of DeFi. So DeFi means decentralized finance, if you don't know, okay? And we've gone from 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and now the project we are talking about is pioneering something called 3.5. First of all, in 1.0, the core challenge is that liquidity providers have too much dominance, and we call them, in fact, we call 1.0 the wild, wild west. The liquidity providers, rock pulling, they are just too much, okay? In 2.0, a company called Olympus DAO, a project called Olympus DAO, took a bold step and pioneered something called POL, which is protocol on liquidity. They did that to see how they can gain stability. And then in 3.0, another project came out called Origin LGNS, and their goal was to take the same POL but problem with growing. They introduced the POL mechanism, but they had problem with growing it. And now Horizon has come and they are pioneering something called 3.5, which is AI powered DeFi. Okay. And so they are calling it DeFi 3.5. Now, Horizon, for your information, has been audited by the biggest blockchain auditor, the biggest blockchain project auditor on the planet, which is called CETIC. And Horizon, because their project has what is called proof of work. In other words, their AI has proof of work. Horizon has been spotlighted as number 9 out of 15 on the list of AI driven innovators, okay, in the crypto space. And that is a big feat because there are only 15 projects worldwide in that category. 15, okay. There are so many projects launching every day, only 15 made the list, and Horizon is number 9 on that list. Now let's begin to talk about this project called Olympus DAO, the people who pioneered protocol owned liquidity. Now, what is protocol owned liquidity? In protocol owned liquidity, instead of the liquidity that is used to back a project to be held by individuals, external people, that liquidity is now held by the protocol. It's held in something called a treasury inside the protocol itself. Now, when you go to the Binance BNB, like the Binance Smart Chain Explorer, the Binance Chain Explorer, and you look for a project, for example, in this screenshot, we are seeing the Orizon project. Now, and this is the same for any project on Binance, that is built on the Binance chain owned, okay? So you see that this wallet that looks like the first wallet here that is having 58% of the money has a document in front of it, okay? That document, if you highlight it, you will see that it is a contract. Let me just show you this. Okay, contracts. What that means is that the funds in that contract are owned by the smart contract, and they are in something called the treasury of this protocol owned liquidity system. So the first wallet here is this wallet that does not have that contract sign. Okay, you can see that the first wallet here has 0.0205%, meaning if this person takes out his money, the system does not shake in any way because the system has enough money to back his withdrawal. Okay, that's the issue. So, but if this money were pulled out, all this money, over 94% of the funds were pulled out, then the system automatically will have a problem. So this thing being locked into the protocol means that even the developers cannot remove it. It's locked into the smart contract. So we'll talk about that more, but the people that innovated and pioneered this system were called Olympus DAO. They were the first to do it, although they had problem with scalability because they did not know how to build a community. Now, at their launch, they were offering 100,000% return on investment. They had a very strong treasury, and they are still running even after 5 years. Of course, they cannot offer 100,000% APY any longer. All right, but they broke the law, what they call the short lifespan cycle that most projects face, and they are still in existence today. Then you move into something called liquidity, the limitation of Olympus. Okay, Olympus DAO had weak expansion. Like I said, they had limited community growth, and their price volatility was there. They had price volatility because they had no dump control mechanism. So then after Olympus DAO made their mistakes, another company, another project called Origin LGNS, you know took that same protocol on liquidity system, but now they powered it with referrals, okay, so that they were able to build the community faster. They had 2 million users in that 2 years. And when they started, they were offering 3,000% APY. But right now, they're at about 800% APY. Okay. So they have a good community. They have less automation. That basically means that their system cannot adapt quickly to changes in the market. And they have human driven expansion. And of course, there's still price volatility, because they did not have any pump and dump controls in the system. Apart from their protocol own liquidity, they did not have any other system to handle people, selling out. Okay, so Orizon looked at these two projects, and Orizon now introduced, um, what we call DeFi 3.5, which basically Orizon is taking the protocol own liquidity from 2.0, and the growth system, which is the referral growth system, from 3.0, and they've added AI to the system. And Orizon has some good results. Right now, the price of the token has been stable for the last 7 months. As you can see, this is the price of the token. You can go check it out on CoinMarketCap, and you see that the price has been stable. Okay, which has not happened in the history of blockchain. So this is how Horizon is described on CETIC, which is a independent auditor for crypto projects. Okay, Orizon is an AI powered decentralized financial engine. Orizon connects artificial intelligence tools to a decentralized financial engine where on-chain yield is generated not by speculation but by AI doing real work. The system is transparent, it's open source, anybody can access it, it's in the public, it's sustainable, and is permissionless. And like I said, Horizon has been spotlighted as an AI innovator. So when they are saying AI, it's not just talk. Their AI has proof of work, which is why they have been highlighted as an AI innovator. Okay. Now, Horizon again, like we say, is positioned itself for what? Stability, growth, and intelligence, which is powered by AI. So it's a more refined system, and in this system, the goal is not to make money when the price is high. The goal is to make money when the price is stable. That is different from what Bitcoin has taught everybody in the market space. Bitcoin has created a pathway, and in that pathway, you only make money by pump and dump. But what Horizon is trying to pioneer now is a system where we can make money from price stability. So the goal of this system is to keep price stable and avoid spikes. So, and that's where we now come to APY. How do we make money with APYs? Okay. Olympus started with 100%, 100,000% APY, meaning if you put $1,000, you would have made $1,000,000 according to them in their first year. Okay. Anyway, I did not hear about the project when it started. Then Origin LGNS, okay, offered 3,000% at the start. Right now they're like 800. Horizon started at 1,700%. Okay, Horizon started at a lower API, and the goal is more sustainability. Okay, right now Horizon is about 1,300 or so percent return on investment. Okay, and Horizon APY is not fixed; it is dynamic, controlled by the AI. Okay, updated by the AI. And the more users Horizon has, Horizon says the price, the APY will lower. Okay. And then when users become fewer, if people unstake, the APY will get high again to attract more users to the platform. So it's a cycle. Okay. So we know people would unstake at some point. As they're unstaking, the APY will begin to rise. As people come back to stake, the APY begins to decline. That's the system. Okay, so but if you want to take a look from Origin has been in operation for 2 years. Their APY has gone from 3,000 to 800. Okay, that is like saying their AI has reduced by almost 75%. Okay, out of their APY in 2 years, without and again you need to understand that their system has no adaptability systems. They don't have an adaptability mechanism. It's just a system that is just at the mercy. It's at the mercy of the market. Okay. So to participate in any of these projects, particularly Horizon, what you do is you acquire Ori, you stake it, you earn your yields and compound. Okay, and then you withdraw. Horizon has a fixed and a flexi staking plan. With the main difference is that with fixed, your capital is locked. With flexi, you can take out your capital anytime. In both cases, you can withdraw your interest anytime, but flexi does not compound. Okay, only the fixed staking compounds. Okay, now the capital, remember, like I said, can be withdrawn instantly. But again, the difference here with what Horizon is doing, Horizon does not allow instant withdrawal of capital. Horizon, all withdrawals pass through vesting, and this is also to avoid a dump scenario, what you call a bank run. For example, we have financial institutions, we have banks today, which is decentralized, which is centralized platforms. Now, no matter the bank that you bank with, if everybody that is a bank that is banking with that bank today comes to the bank in all their branches and say we want our money, it does not matter the bank or where the bank is located or anywhere in the world. If everybody goes to the bank and say give us our money, the bank is going to crash. Okay, that is why at some point the bank will not give out money. The bank begins to put rules like, okay, you cannot collect this kind of money again, you cannot withdraw up to this amount. The bank tries, when the bank is low on cash, they begin to bring regulations on how you withdraw your own money. Why? Because they are trying to avoid bank run. If everybody says, give me my money, I want to close my account now, the bank is going to crash. Okay, so which is why Horizon as a banking system, okay, has a plan. And remember, Horizon is DeFi. DeFi is decentralized finance. Banks are what? Centralized finance. What are the products of a bank? You take your money and you stake your money in the bank, which is called fixing. Okay, and the bank say they will give you 6% per year. Okay, so you keep the money for 1 year. They will use your money, they will trade forex, they will trade gold, they will trade all kinds of assets, and then they'll make profit on your money and then pay you an interest. That's what the bank does with your money. Okay, and then they give you services that you pay for. You pay for card, you pay, it's not free. You pay transaction charges, okay, to use your own money, to transfer your own money, you pay transaction charges, okay, and then also there are other services, okay, that the bank renders, like loans, okay, to people, and even probably to you. They take the money of other investors and they take money that they are holding and they give loans and they try to make profit out of it. This is basically what a financial institution does. So a decentralized system, a decentralized finance system is similar to a centralized finance system. The only difference is that with DeFi, it is not run by human beings, it is run by a smart contract, which is on the blockchain. The smart contracts operate everything. Okay. Now, with this particular system that Horizon has, it is a smart contract, but the smart contract is regulated by AI. So AI has some form of control over the system, which brings some form of centralization. That's not centralization because it is AI. All right. So the system comes with a bond mechanism. Okay. And by the way, I was saying what I just said to say that Horizon is coming up with new products. A card is coming and other products are coming where users can use, and Horizon will be able to make more money by charging more fees so that there's more money coming into the treasury of Horizon to help them back the system more effectively. Okay. So the Horizon system has a bond mechanism, which is very necessary in any decentralized system. All right. And the bond mechanism is found in the withdrawal system, which is what we call the vesting, even in the contribution system, which is also a vesting system. And then AI also has some minting and bonding that it does. So what's the vesting system? If you want to take out your money, you want to take out your money without any charge, you take out your money in 180 days. Okay, meaning if you have 100 and you put $1,000 and you put $10,000 and your $10,000 is now $170,000, you can take out your profit immediately. So you can take out your capital immediately, but your profit needs to go through vesting. So that your $170,000 in profit will go through a daily vesting. You break it down into 180 days. It's going to be around somewhere below $10,000, and you withdraw that maybe $8,000 to $9,000 every day until, okay, no, that's 8,000, almost $900 every day until you withdraw your $170,000 in a period of 180 days, and you will not need to burn anything. Okay, but if you say no, I want my money in 15 days, you will burn 25% of your tokens that you are withdrawing. Okay, if you say you want to take it out in 40 days, you will burn 20% of your tokens. If you want to take out in 100 days, you burn 15% of your tokens. And if you want to take out, okay, this 10% of your tokens, and here is 5% of your tokens. But if you want to withdraw without burning any tokens, you use 180 days. This protects the system from instant crash. Everybody cannot use 15 days. Everybody cannot use 40 days. Different people are going to use different cycles. That creates some form of balance where everybody does not come and just pull out money automatically from the bank. Okay. So the same thing with the contribution. You are a referrer, you refer people, and they are paying you commissions or interest. And the system says you can only earn 5 times what you are staking. But now you have more money to claim than your stake can allow. So what you can do, you can take Ori tokens and burn, and once you burn, the system will allow you to take an extra 5 times of what you have just burned from what you are, I believe, what has been made available to you from referral bonuses. So you can claim more of your referral bonuses even if your stake is low. Okay, so but it still has a burning mechanism. So this allows the system to have some balancing out where it is not just unlimited minting of tokens, because unlimited minting of tokens without any control mechanism also affects the price of the token. Okay, remember I've shown you the price of Orizon has been stable, and it's because of mechanisms like this. Okay, so the AI layer is in charge of optimizing these yield strategies, monitoring market conditions, adjusting the token supply, and managing risks on the system. Okay, now the biggest fear in a place like Nigeria, and maybe some other places in the world, is what of if they run away? Because we've seen a lot of pump and dump schemes. What of if withdrawals stop? Okay, now the biggest fear for a lot of people is what of if they run away? What of if the developers run away? What of if withdrawals stop? And truthfully, these fears are very valid. Now, Horizon has gone an extra mile. Now, this was not done by Olympus DAO. This was not done by Origin LGNS. This is just Horizon's own way of increasing community trust. Okay, which again for me is not a deal breaker, because the other two projects have done well. They are still available. They did not run away, even though they did not renounce ownership. But Horizon has renounced ownership of the project, meaning that the project is now on the blockchain permanently because they don't have ownership privileges anymore. So there's no admin. If you go to what do you call it, the blockchain explorer, and look at Horizon there, and then you go to contract, you go to read contract, and then you check admin, you will see that there's a hash that shows. If you copy that hash and put it inside ChatGPT will tell you that that hash means that not found. Okay, in other words, there's no owner found. Okay, so there's no central control. Nobody can change the rules. And if you go to under governance strength on their rating on CETIC, you will see some of the ratings that have been displayed here for them. And let me just give you a little. Okay, so the ratings show that they don't have privileges to pause the project or the token, or freeze the token, or blacklist blacklist anybody so that the person cannot withdraw or transfer his funds, or withdrawal blocking. Okay, they cannot block withdrawal. So you see their ownership percentage they have checked is 0. They have renounced ownership, check, the pass. Does the creator have percentage? No, they pass. Is there a hidden owner? No, they pass. Is the balance modifiable? No, they pass. Can they retrieve ownership? No. That's why you see the green marks. Okay. Is this a honeypot project? No. Is there buy tax? No. Is there sell tax? Yes. That's why you see this. There's a sell tax of 5%. So if you say you put $1,000 as your capital, now you want to take out your $1,000 after 1 year, this is sell tax of 5%. Okay, meaning when you're converting your ORI back to USDT, you pay 5%. Is transfer possible? No. Is there anything like anti-will? No. Meaning big people can put money. Okay, the only difference is that they cannot take the money out automatically. So they have a good governance score, and as you can see here, owner holding ratio is what? Owner holding ratio is what? 0.00%. In other words, there is no owner holding money that they say they can rock pool. It doesn't exist. Okay, the major holding is in the treasury, which I've explained to you in the POL. 94.84% of the entire liquidity that is backing this project is in what they call the treasury. It's just like when you want to start a bank. You know, when you want to start a bank, there's a minimum amount of money you need to have. The government wants you to have that money. The central bank needs you to have that money, okay, so that you can facilitate operations initially, and so that you can sustain pressure of withdrawals and transactions. Okay, you cannot just come and start the bank and you don't have any capital to run the system. So there is 94% of the money now that is available in the treasury of Horizon, okay, is locked. Is locked, and it does not belong to the owners. As you can see, owner holding ratio is what? 0%. But what is this not? This is definitely not a get rich quick scheme. You can't make money quickly here. Okay, at least you start seeing good money, maybe 90 days, which is where you can make like 0.6% for currently. So um it's this system is built for participation. Okay, and the key thing here is the POL, all right, which is the end of rug pulling. Okay, so the because of POL, the protocol, the money that is the liquidity behind the system is locked. So the protocol owns the liquidity. It is not dependent on whales that can exit and every other person will suffer. So the liquidity cannot run away. Okay, and that is the major stability. And they got that from Olympus DAO in DeFi 2.0. Okay, the real risk is not participating, where you miss out on this early stage entry by just watching others benefit and you want to enter through too late again. Because you see, in this system, the APY reduces as users increase. All right. So you have the case study of LGNS. They started at 3,000% APY. A lot of people made millions of dollars. In fact, they made over 100 people made $1 million, and over 10 people have made $100 million on Origin LGNS. That's the statistics for Origin LGNS. And they moved from their initial state, growing state, to 2 million users in their first 2 years. And the APY has gone from what, 3,000 to what, 800% APY. So the best beneficiaries are the beneficiaries that can buy a plot of land now, blockchain land banking. They buy it at $100 and they cash out $270,000 down the road. Those are the main beneficiaries. So you don't need to start with big capital if you start early. But if you start late, your capital, you will not be able to compound well if you start late. Okay, you start early and you have better compounding power. So it's to start small, okay, add more, and you can also have an exit plan where you can exit your capital, okay, and then reinvest your profit and continue from there, so that you know that everything that you are staking is completely profit. In 180 days, you should have doubled or tripled your original investment. Okay, so what are you supposed to do now? Position yourself before the crowd comes. The system is already working, the window is still early, the opportunity is asymmetric right now, so there's a potential large outcome if you start now. All right, so that's the basic presentation for anybody who just wants to get an idea. But for those who want to continue, you want to find out, what do I do now? Basically, you just basically need to, not necessarily acquire ORI. It's USDT you need. The system can convert it and stick it for you automatically. Just get USDT of the amount you want, you stick it, and you start earning daily rewards. And then if you refer people, you get 10% of the interest that they are being paid daily. 10% of the interest that they are being paid daily, you get paid that daily also. So there are people today that are doing $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day, up to even $57,000 a month currently as we are speaking, because of the referral volume that they have been able to acquire. Okay, what you basically can do is reach out to me using the link in the description below, and I will advise you further on how to take the next step. Basically, you just need to have a decentralized wallet created, and make sure you are on BNB chain, and then you buy your BNB at least $1, and then you buy USDT also, and then you get an affiliate link, and then you go to the browser of the decentralized platform and you access the DApp, the decentralized app. And once it is connected to your BNB wallet, you'll be verified and you have access to the DApp. Then you can stake depending on the option you want to stake and depending on the duration you want to stake, and you've basically started. After that, you can basically start onboarding other people and referring other members, because we want to grow this community. Okay, and as you grow the community, you earn rewards. So today I know personal people that are doing $100 a day up to $1,000 a day. Okay, and these are real human beings like me and you, but they are promoting the community. So if you want to get started in your region, in your state, in your country, this project just came to Africa. All right, in fact, it is just 2 weeks or 3 weeks old in Nigeria, and it is not in a lot of African countries. A lot of African countries have not even heard about this project. So the opportunity is large to take the market right now, put a investment on the ground that can turn into something major, and then start promoting like fire. Okay, to get started, contact me. So basically now, if you okay, when we come to the difference Horizon is making, let's just look at some case scenarios. Okay, now let's assume that you start this project with $100. Okay, at our current rate right now, current APY, which is somewhere around 1,324 APY. Okay, in 6 months you could come out with this. Okay, in 1 year you come out with this, and um in 2 years this is what your $100 will be. And this is the power of compounding. It's like buying a land and leaving it for 2 years. But now let us say, okay, in the next 2 years the APY has crashed, okay, by 50%, and that is highly unlikely. Okay, but let's just say it has gone down by 50%. This is what, so if you were able to turn your $100 into this amount, what are you really making a loss? Okay, in fact, okay, let's make it better. Let's say in 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 the next 2 years the APY has reduced by minus 75%. Okay, because remember we said it is dynamic. So let's we are putting a case scenario here that just the way Origin LGNS, even without all the mechanisms that Horizon has, without the AI driven system, without the AI risk management system, without the all the mechanisms that without all the mechanisms that Horizon has. Let's assume that in the midst of all of that, okay, they were able to go. In fact, in 2 years they've gone to they've reduced by like 75%. Okay, the APY has reduced by like 75%. So let's assume that we suffer the same consequences even with all the mechanisms that we have put in place. And by the way, we have the result that Horizon LGNS did not have. Horizon LGNS did not maintain their price for 7 months straight. Stable, they did not. Okay, but Horizon has achieved that with AI. Okay, so let's say you came with $100 and the price went down by what, 75%. If it is by 75% less in the first 2 years, you are still coming out with 5K. In 3 years, you are still coming out with 73K. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's all about the compounding. All right, and the sweetest part of this business is if you decide to get other people on board. So every time they pay them an interest, they pay you an interest. Okay, even though you cannot earn more than 5 times of what you are staking. Now, secondly, assuming you started out with 200, this is where you will be. Okay, in 3 years, $200. If we play the worst case scenario, which is what, minus 75%. If we play this scenario here, minus 50%, you come out with 20K. Let's say you did $300. Look at the potential in 3 years. Look at the potential in 2 years. Look at the potential at 75% less our current APY. In 3 years, this is what, like if your $300 turned to this, have you suffered any major loss? Okay, I mean, even at 2 years, this is what your $300 is. Look at what your $400 is. Okay, at 75%. Imagine that the APY is fairly stable. Okay, so then look at 500. Look at what 500 will become in 3 years. That the APY goes down by 75%. This is what you have. Okay, so there is no circumstance that you're going to look at this land banking system that you're going to say you're running at a loss. So the biggest question is, do you want to stand on the sidelines and watch a proven model, a spotlight project, renounced project with proper DAO governance and protocol owned liquidity? Do you want to stand by and watch, or do you want to get started? I will encourage you to get started, and I will encourage you to start at $400 so that you can join the Spartan Academy, which is people who have put $400 for 3 years, and then you get our promotion system so that you can begin to promote this even without talking to anybody. You can use digital systems to promote it using our templates, and you can begin to get other people on board, and so that you can grow your revenue just by referrals, and you can keep your stake capital intact as we grow together. Thank you. Reach out to me. Let's talk, and let me help you get started today. And for those of us who want to take this to our countries, reach out to me and let's talk, and let's see how we can get it into your country and help you get started immediately and provide you with all the tools and the support for you to take this game to another level in your country